The future. Everyone wants to see it, and why not? It has robots, flying cars, and of course, superheroes.
Yeah, the future still has those, but they're even cooler because of all the sweet gadgets.
Like Terry McGinnis, the Batman Beyond.
And Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man from 2099. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Terry McGinnis was your average futuristic high school student.
He went to future raves, complained about future problems, had a future girlfriend, yeah, you know, the usual.
Until one fateful day when Terry got into a fight with a group of jokers.
What's he got against comedians?
No, a gang called the Jokers. You know, like the Joker?
Yeah, but with a Z, because it's the future.
Well, naturally. After possibly the most dangerous motorcycle chase ever put on television.
Yeah, it's cool, he's got a helmet.
Terry found himself inside an isolated mansion owned by an elderly billionaire named Bruce Wayne. Here, he stumbled upon the most important revelation in his life.
Bruce Wayne is Batman! Oh, what a surprise! Well, more like he was Batman. He'd retired from crime fighting years ago, because, you know, age is a bitch.
Wait a minute, after decades of secrecy, a punk teenager just happens to stumble into the Batcave? For crying out loud, if he'd found my secret lair, he'd have been vaporized on the spot.
Yeah! Anyway, Terry's roller coaster of a day still wasn't over. Turns out, his dad got murdered.
Dad?
By Joker.
Bummer. So he did what any emotionally charged teen who wants to avenge their dad would do. He stole the Batsuit.
But not the old cape and cowl of yesteryear. This was the latest and most advanced Batsuit. Terry McGinnis didn't just become the all-new Batman. He was Batman Beyond.
You ever wonder what would happen if Batman got a hold of an Iron Man suit? It's basically that. And damn, he looks freaking rad.
The Batsuit's nanotechnology greatly enhances his strength and provides several thin yet strong layers of ballistic and environmental protection.
And he can fly! He can soar faster than a speeding future car, and he's really nimble in the air. Plus, he can always give his punches and kicks a literal rocket boost.
The suit sports over 24 other gadgets for combat and espionage. He has a wrist-mounted grappling hook that can extend over 50 feet. There's a cloaking device, a lock decoder, finger microphones, climbing claws, an underwater breather, thermal and binocular vision, extendable spikes on his arms, flashbang grenades.
Okay, that's a lie. I get it.
And
He's Batman.
Retractable tweezers.
Splinters are no laughing matter. And don't forget all those sweet, sweet batarangs. These new age ninja stars are even sharper and more compact than before. And they come in a variety of delightful flavors, like explosive, ensnaring, and electrifying. Terry's got a solid throwing arm and can even disarm multiple opponents with a single shot. But if he's feeling a bit lazy, he can always just use his arm launchers to fire batarang discs.
Also, when anyone gets in too close, the whole suit can act like a man-sized taser. The electric shock is strong enough to stun people spliced with animal DNA and short out heavy machinery.
But the tools don't make the man, Batman. Terry's a master martial artist with plenty of training from legends like former Robin Dick Grayson, totally real ninja Kairi Tanaga, and the former Dark Knight himself. Once he got over the kid stealing his suit, of course.
Bruce Wayne doesn't just serve as Terry's mentor, he's also a constant source of advice and information on the go through his direct link to the Batsuit.
No, he's the Alfred.
Good thing, too, since Terry's not exactly the world's greatest detective. At least not compared to the old man.
Bruce is extremely intelligent and an expert analyst. Plus, the Batcave has some very impressive technology. Not only does it host one of the most powerful supercomputers on the planet, it's also completely dependent on its own hydroelectric power supply and isolated network.
Still, I don't care who Bruce used to be. Having an old guy barking orders in your ear sounds annoying. Like your dad's always looking over your shoulder. Or at least I imagine, because I didn't have one.
Well, Terry is Bruce Wayne's secret son.
What?
In an effort to ensure there would always be a Batman, government boogie woman Amanda Waller had secretly overwritten Warren McGinnis's reproductive DNA with that of Bruce Wayne's.
So like, he was just blasting Wayne babies? It's like all the fun, but you could get out of any child support case. And bonus, I guess Terry's father technically wasn't murdered. Good for him. Also, he's got all the benefits from Bruce's kick-ass genes.
Even before going through combat training, Terry was a skilled fighter. strong enough to send opponents flying with a single punch.
In the suit, he's strong enough to lift large I-beams and this giant boulder.
He's even survived getting his leg trapped under Bruce Wayne's trophy penny.
What's so special about a penny?
Just look at it.
Holy colossal currency,
Yeah, that's
Batman!
big.
The penny's diameter is easily 20 feet wide and is frequently dated from the 1940s. This means the penny is likely composed of bronze and weighs around 166 tons.
That's more than enough to crush all the bones in your foot. But not
Literally.
Terry. He was up and at him like nothing happened. I mean, this guy's tough enough to take a missile to the face and then fall hundreds of stories. And all he got out of it was a couple broken ribs. What's a penny as heavy as 33 monster trucks gonna do?
He's quick enough to dodge gunfire, skilled enough to defeat lizard people and the Justice Lords. In a newer suit, he could fire concussive pulse blasts and even outraced an intercontinental missile, which can reach speeds of up to 15,000 miles per hour. That's over 19 times the
Terry!
speed of sound.
He's still no Bruce Wayne, though.
Of
He's
course.
kind of a punk and doesn't have the amazing smarts or expertise of Batman Classic.
You don't quite have his magnificent brain, for instance. You do have his heart, though.
Maybe not, but he has accomplished feats equal to his predecessor, like fighting Superman and ending the Joker threat once and for all. Clearly, Terry McGinnis has more than earned the
Knew
title
it.
of Batman.
See.
You're pretty strong.
But in some way, he kind of reminds me of Jason Todd.
am Batman.
It's just that it's actually
Oh,
kinda
here's an
reminded me of
unfortunate
Jason.
spoiler. The year 2099 kinda sucks.
Plagued by a massive civil war between humans and mutants, the world
I can
fell
see
into a
why.
dystopian ruin of violence and anarchy. The heroic age had come to an end.
But some people still wanted a sequel.
Enter Miguel O'Hara, a child prodigy turned super genius with a penchant for genetic tinkering.
Miguel's
self-taught
skills
martial
landed
arts?
him a
That's
job
impressive.
at one of the biggest companies in the world, Alchemax, where he got to work trying to rebuild one of the greatest heroes of all time, Spider-Man.
Specifically, he attempted to replicate the DNA of Peter Parker, the
Whoa.
original Spider-Man. But like most of the 21st century superheroes,
They can't
not
replicate
much
it.
remained of Parker outside of stories and legend. Miguel had to build his experiment from scratch, starting with a single, simple spider.
Spider bite.
Unfortunately, Alchemax didn't have the greatest job security. After a lot of bad blood and some spilled blood, Miguel wound up accidentally getting a dose of his own creepy crawly project.
Transforming him into
Oh,
the
so they get-
Spider-Man of 2099.
So it did
But
get
future
bitten.
Spider-Man isn't quite the same as your grandpappy's Spidey.
That's right. Apart
Right.
from the superhuman strength, speed, durability, and improved healing, Miguel's powers are entirely different. Unlike Parker, he can't actually stick to any surface. He can still wall crawl though, using retractable talons on his fingers and toes, which
Ew.
also make for fairly deadly weapons in a fight.
And
I
he's
can
got
see.
fangs like a vampire. If he bites you, he can inject a venom that can paralyze your whole body almost instantly. Also,
Ouch.
he may not have Petey's trusty spider sense, but his sense of sight, smell, and hearing are superfied. He can hear noises from miles away, see in the dark, and make out far off and fast-moving objects with ease.
In fact, his
Ouch.
senses are so acute, he wears tinted glasses to keep daylight from hurting his eyes.
And like any Spider-Man, he can shoot webs
So it's
from
similar
his
to
hands.
Cyclops.
Miguel doesn't
Except
need
he
compact
shoots
web shooter
lasers.
devices on his wrists. He actually has organic spinnerets in his arms, which create and release thick, durable strings of webbing. Because they're natural, these strings are chemically identical to spider silk, with a tensile strength similar to steel.
Ew! Okay,
Jeez.
the original Spider-Man always kinda grossed me out, but this guy's powers are disgusting.
I think Miguel would agree with you.
Well, yeah, one day he's just your average dweeb doing sciencey stuff like you, and the next he's got big lumps in his arms which shoot sticky stuff? Who wouldn't be weirded out?
Miguel saw his newfound power as a curse, a blight which turned him into an inhuman freak of nature.
But that didn't stop him from fighting crime, complete with his own Spidey suit.
His original costume was made from unstable molecules, allowing the use of his talons without tearing the fabric. He also wears a web-like cape made of light bite, which lets him glide through the air.
Whoa, Light Bright! I remember that. Man, do they still have that in the future? And did they find a way to stop you losing those little pegs?
Light bite.
Yeah,
Literally.
whatever. The suit looks pretty cool, so I hate to spoil the mood, but it's actually just a run-of-the-mill costume from a Day of the Dead festival. No, really.
Though after meeting the present-day Peter Parker,
okay.
Miguel received a much-needed upgrade. His new suit contained synthesized unstable molecule fabric mixed with Kevlar, greatly improving his defense.
This suit can survive a shot from a howitzer artillery cannon. A common M777 military howitzer fires 92-pound shells at 2,200 feet per second. That hits with over 100 tons of force.
Miguel's even taken a hit from the Thing, a hit which shattered a tempered glass window and sent Miguel flying over 24 feet.
And the new suit has explosives, hologram projectors, infrared scanning, and it's even got wings and rocket boosters on the feet. Wait, that sounds familiar.
Miguel may be a genius, but he's at his best when he's working with his holographic assistant, Lila, or the Y-Rate Lifeform Approximation.
She's basically like the future Alexa with a bunch of extra features. She keeps track of Miguel's life signs and surroundings. With Lila's scanners and his super senses, anyone would have a hard time trying to sneak up on future Spidey.
While Lila was originally built as a home appliance, she can be stored on Miguel's portable communicator. She can act as an onboard lie detector and do advanced calculations to the 20th decimal in a millisecond, which is really amazing.
Fun fact, Lila's appearance was based on Marilyn Monroe.
Not that anybody in 2099 seems to know who Marilyn Monroe was. Okay, seriously, how did they lose so much information in less than 100 years? Remember, kids, always back up your files. It'll prevent the apocalypse.
Well, lucky for them, Miguel got over his emo phase and started setting the future back on track. And he had the skills to do it.
He's quick enough to dodge gunfire, tough enough to take a shotgun blast to the chest, resilient enough to tank electric shocks, and strong enough to rip a 20-ton turret off a tank.
More than that, he helped another Spider-Man keep this giant building piece in place. What even is that?
Likely some sort of antenna, but it also resembles the mooring mast atop the Empire State Building.
Back when everybody thought Zeppelins were the hot new thing, because who doesn't like riding a giant flammable balloon full of explosive gas? Sign me up!
Assuming it's composed of steel and roughly estimating its size compared to the Spider-Man on the roof, then comparing the Empire State Building's mooring mast, this should weigh, at most, 200 tons.
So basically, Miguel's a badass, and he proved it in the most epic way possible. After rebuilding the world with Captain America, Miguel inherited the most legendary weapon of them all, Mjolnir.
Although Thor's hammer didn't actually grant him its warrior powers, Miguel didn't use it as a weapon, but as proof of his authority, a literal symbol of the societal weight he alone could carry. With his dominance asserted, Miguel created the utopian future a person could only dream of.
And you thought Peter Parker was cool. This Spider-Man is at the top.
Is this Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions version?
Spider-Man of the year 2099.
That's me, ready to save the universe and looking good while doing it.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, the future is now in the form of Blue Apron. Time for Death
Battle! Oh. Hey, Tim.
Keep an eye out. I've been seeing some odd reports regarding this part of the city.
Is that what they got started off?
Hey, Bozo! I was brooding there. Who the shock are you?
Fight! Ooh. Hey.
Right back at you, fatty. Hey, Lila, get me a reading on this vampire guy, yeah?
This vampire guy.
I can't identify his tech or fighting style, but I can try hacking his suit.
He's too comfortable in the air. Try a different approach. Get to ground level.
I can't move! Damn, that hurt.
Something's trying to hack your suit. Our new friend, no doubt.
How's the hack going?
Nowhere fast.
Get in close and finish this quick.
No problem. Can my fangs pierce his suit?
I think so.
Then I'll finish this myself.
Whoa. Dang.
Lila!
Oh my god!
Lila! And problem solved.
I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
I'll never get tired of seeing people blow up. It's always such a blast.
Thanks to
But how did he
Bruce's
win?
counsel, Terry used his flashbang to take advantage of Miguel's sensitive eyesight and his electric shock that can short out large machinery to deal with Lila.
Yeah, unlike Bruce, the poor girl wasn't really built for combat. And while her hacking skills were top-notch, the isolated Batcave had the defenses to hold her off.
Even still, Terry's stats edged out Miguel's in more ways than one.
When it came to maneuverability and durability, they were mostly even. Both could dodge bullets and weave through the air. Both could survive heavy ballistic hits. But unlike Terry, Miguel's never outraced anything faster than a Mach 19 ballistic missile.
For physical strength, Terry had him beat too. Recall that boulder that he lifted underwater. This took place in Superman's Fortress of Solitude near the Arctic, so the boulder was likely composed of sedimentary dark limestone, the most common rock type around that location. So we compared Terry's height to the boulder, applied the density for limestone, and subtracted the weight reduced by underwater buoyancy, to find the boulder's weight to be 192 tons.
And he tossed it aside like it was nothing. Terry's peak strength in the batsuit has to be more than 200 tons.
Assuming Miguel applied his fair share when holding up that antenna, his best strength feat we know of is at max 100 tons.
But he's a Spider-Man! Spider-Man can lift more than that, right?
Not usually. Technically, Miguel's powers are so different from Peter's that we shouldn't really scale him to other Spider-Men. But for the benefit of the doubt, let's do it anyway.
We'll check out two of Spider-Man's most impressive strength feats. The first is the time he braced a private jet while it was landing. Look at him! He's literally the landing gear.
According to Spider-Man himself, the plane's total weight was at most 115,000 pounds. Adding the thrust from a Whittle W1 engine, which this small jet is most likely to have an engine comparable to, this feat comes out to 58 tons.
Not even close to Terry's 200. Then there was this one time where Spidey had to push way past his limits to lift what he offhandedly compared to as a locomotive. Since he could measure the plane, it's likely he's accurate here, but given the time period, that's still only 130 tons at most.
It's clear Terry had a pretty sizable physical advantage. And just because Terry's mind wasn't as fine-tuned as the original Batman's didn't mean he's dumb.
Even more, Miguel never trained like Terry did. Hell, he never really had much formal training at all, but Terry was trained by ninjas, stealth artists, and other crime fighters to be a master in the battlefield. And since Miguel didn't have a spider sense, Terry just had to wait until the untrained future Spidey left an opening.
In short, while Miguel wasn't completely outmatched, Terry's superior strength, counseling, equipment, and training won the bout.
Turns out this Batman was beyond him.
The winner is Batman Beyond. Throughout the Earths of Marvel and DC Comics, there are hundreds, no thousands, of superheroes saving the day. But what if I told you there were even more across the multiverse?
Oh, great, as if we don't have enough to keep track of already.
Miles Morales, the Spider-Man of Marvel's Earth number 1610.
And Static, the electric genius from DC's Dakotaverse. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Alright, where do we start off?
At first glance, the world of Earth 1610 isn't so different from our own. But look closer and you'll find Coca-Soda instead of Coca-Cola, PDNY officers instead of NYPD.
And a hamburger and fries can cost 30,000 goddamn dollars!
But perhaps the greatest difference in this so-called Ultimate Universe was that Peter Parker, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, was dead.
Enter Miles Morales. He was your typical kid from Brooklyn and didn't have much to worry about except his overbearing mom and dad. Hey kid, appreciate your folks while you have them. You never know when they're gonna pull a surprise Uncle Ben.
Well, Miles spent most of his time with his more laid-back Uncle Aaron, who turned out to be a secret supercriminal.
Totally relatable. Anyway, during one of his heists into a secret lab, Aaron accidentally scooped up a spider. The next time Miles visited, the spider got loose and, you know what happens.
Bit him.
Let's go. This spider carried the genetic enhancing Oz formula, yet another attempt to recreate Captain America's infamous super soldier serum. It had previously transformed Peter Parker into the first Spider-Man.
Wait a minute, who came up with the idea to store the super serum in a friggin' spider?
Scientists can be weird sometimes.
Maybe next time put it in something that can't walk away. It's got 8 legs. That's like 4 times more walking power.
Sure. Either way, with his new powers, Miles donned red and black to become the ultimate Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
As the newest spider lad on the block, he does whatever a spider can. He's super strong, super fast, and has the overpowered super radar, the spider sense.
After meeting Peter's Aunt May, Miles took up the classic web shooters, complete with multiple types of long to short range webbing.
Yet another tool that would be perfect for snagging a beer from the fridge without leaving the couch.
Boomstick, he was a teenager.
Different universe, different drinking laws, right? And also, like Peter, he can stick to walls. You know, spider style.
Yes, like some spiders, Miles can control his body's interatomic attraction, essentially sticking to walls like a magnet. However, unlike Peter, this subatomic electron manipulation gives Miles a few extra moves of his own.
Yeah, the kid's got electric powers. He can zap people with a quick touch, fire off massive explosions, and even turn invisible. Wait, what's that got to do with shocking people?
This venom sting can even take out the Ultimate Universe's Electro, a being literally made of electricity. But Miles didn't just shock him, he disrupted Electro's own charge. Similar to a miswiring sending too much electricity in one direction and shorting out your computer when somebody forgot to plug it into the surge protector.
Wiz, you know I don't believe in protection for anything. It's going in raw.
Anyway, as the new Spider-Man, Miles obviously had a lot to live up to. After his Uncle Aaron died in front of him,
ha! Told you somebody would pull a Ben!
Miles pushed past the heartache. He persisted, living up to Peter's ideals, and eventually stepped out of his shadow to be Spider-Man in a way only he could.
Oh yeah, what's up, Danger? He can blast apart a building-sized monster and survived being slammed around by the giant Cassie Lang. That's Ant-Man's daughter.
He's smart enough to hack military drones and quick enough to destroy an alien device in a microsecond. Essentially, he needed to open and close a portal in an impossibly short time frame to prevent an alien force from invading. It's a long story.
Point is, he's super fast. With his spider sense, he can react to things before they even happen. He's super tough, too. He even survived being caught in this giant super collider exploding.
Measuring the size of this hole using real-world maps of New York and solving for fragmentation, we know this explosion must have been equivalent to about 222 tons of TNT.
Sure, that's not technically canon to the comics, but guys, main series Spider-Man has done way crazier things. I mean, he has the same powers, and Miles has even beat the crap out of him. Classic Pete can bench press 130 tons, use his spider sense to dodge beams of light, and ripped apart Doc Ock's robo-arms, which once survived a 2-kiloton nuclear explosion. So I'd say the Super Collider feat checks out.
Unfortunately, Miles' electric powers can tire him out, and his spider sense does not protect him automatically, serving more as an alarm or proximity sensor.
But the youngins proved himself to be the best successor a Spider-Man could ever want, and more. He even got pulled into the main Marvel timeline when they blew up the Ultimate Universe. Miles Morales is truly one of the greats.
Don't wash them out.
Yeah.
Wash the hands.
Despite growing up in the most crime-filled neighborhood of Dakota City, Virgil Hawkins was a pretty chill guy.
He spent his time playing D&D, reading comics, typical nerd
stuff.
He
one of the members he
one major problem, the classic sitcom bully. No teenage story is complete without it.
During school, he was frequently harassed by local gang leader Francis Stone. Virgil's only refuge was one of his few friends, Larry Wade.
Larry convinced Virgil there was only one way to get rid of Francis for good. Join his own gang and pack some heat. Things got, well, pretty intense, and Virgil wasn't having any of it. It was time to bail like DC Comics on their cinematic universe.
But the damage was already done. The police arrived and let loose a massive canister of what seemed to be tear gas, but wasn't.
Yeah, this grape-looking mist was actually some experimental shit. It was supposed to tag each gang member so the cops could track them down later, but it was actually laced with radioactive quantum juice, which killed almost everybody. I hate it when that happens.
Luckily, Virgil was one of the few who survived, but the quantum juice still had an effect.
You could say he was shocked to find out what it did.
Yes, he began to develop electromagnetic powers. Before this, Virgil always felt out of his league, But now he was in a league of his own and became the superhero Static.
I put a shock to your system.
Hell yeah! With these new powers, the guy was unstoppable. He could blow shit up with electric bolts quick as lightning, make explosion balls called Nova Bombs, and taser people with punches to the face.
Right, but he's not just good at shocking people. Static can alter the electron attraction of any object or surface. He can erect extremely durable electromagnetic force fields that block most attacks. He can even move metal around like a hip young Magneto.
And slip metal under his feet to take to the sky. His favorite ride is the Static Saucer, a giant frisbee that doubles as a shield and buzzsaw. Think about it, don't you wish your car could literally cut through traffic?
Obviously, turning superhuman overnight caught Virgil a bit off guard, but after a few speed bumps, he became a well-regarded superhero throughout the city of Dakota, even teaming up with fellow heroes like Icon and Rocket.
Icon and Rocket? Come on, where's Batman and Wonder Woman?
I should mention that while Static is part of the DC universe, he did not start there. See, Static was originally created by Milestone Comics, which eventually merged with DC. Their characters, including Static, existed in an alternate timeline known as the Dakotaverse. Then a guy named Dharma gained cosmic power and accidentally blew everything up, sending Static into the main DC timeline. It's really not too complicated. I've actually been working on a device to peer into alternate timelines, but unfortunately it still needs...
Button! Well now, old chap, what were we discussing but a moment ago?
Oh, shite, don't you know? Let's figure out who yet wins a fatality kerfuffle.
Yes, I'm mad as hops. Let's begin, my fellow Ultra Cupidarian.
I regret everything.
Oh, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
No! I'm sure that's fine.
Well, no matter the
It's not
universe,
fine.
Static was always one-upping himself. He learned how to see ultraviolet light and how to make people glow. Wait, what's that got to do with shocking people?
That would be his ability to detect bioelectric auras. Static can also create power-draining plasma coils, disrupt the electrical impulses of others, and empower or heal himself by draining energy from outside sources.
He can literally reattach his severed arm with shock power. I'm not even joking.
Okay, that's kind of OP.
Since when could electricity do that?
Clearly, Static has a lot of power at his beck and call.
He can survive building-sized kabooms, lift hundreds of tons,
He's
and
gonna be a
once
big
turn
problem
this
for
huge
Miles.
chunk of ice into slush in just a couple seconds.
This fool
Based on
even
the size of
defeated
the ice
Joker.
and the required change in temperature for such a feat, Static must have output energy equal to 180 tons of TNT.
He's quick enough to intercept lasers confirmed to be beams of actual light, which is pretty darn fast.
And in the cartoon, he actually shoved some quantum juice in some lockers and launched them out of orbit. These are typical school lockers, which can weigh up to 30 pounds each.
And fit approximately one nerd.
To throw 3 of these into space, they need to be moving nearly 3,000 times faster than sound, requiring a throwing force equal to 4 kilotons of TNT.
Damn! Okay, sure, that's not canon to
How?
comics, but his electromagnetism could play tug-of-war with Superboy's telekinesis, which can lift 4 million tons. I'm not sure Static can go that far, but if he's anywhere close, it's still higher than throwing some lockers around.
Though, despite Static's incredible power, insulators are his kryptonite, and he can run out of juice if he pushes himself too much.
But the guy's one of the coolest superheroes who rarely
So,
got his time to shine.
there's some little
Heck,
weaknesses.
he was good enough to join the Justice
him-
League. I think even Virgil himself was shocked to see how cool he really was.
Static shock!
All right, the combatants are set.
I was about to say, they
Run
both
the
have
data
some
for all
weaknesses.
possibilities.
Like, some of their powers couldn't
First,
tire
all
them
this
out.
talking has made me hungry for Blue Apron. Can healthy be delicious? But right now, it's time,
It's time for a death battle! Hey, Miles.
Whoa! Watch where you're aiming. I got places to be tomorrow.
I thought it was your voice actor.
You attack me! Well, I got
What did he-
one electric psychopath to keep track of it. Whoa!
Whoa. Hey! This is an interesting music. It's so.
I call that the soda touch. I call my taser punch.
It's smooth. It's like smooth and rap. Oh, okay. Whoa, whoa. What? Uh-oh. Look. Yo! Dang, Miles!
Wait, what? Keep thinking.
Keep thinking.
Stop thinking. Come on out, Spider Boy. Huh? No more flying. Shoot!
Oh. Too bad, man. Uh-oh.
You've got surprises, but so do I.
Oh, you kidding me? Dang, planetary devastation.
What the fuck?
Did Miles almost say what the hell? Or what the fuck?
Not cool.
Oh no!
You stupid. All I gotta do is... What?
Uh-oh.
Coil. If you hadn't noticed, this electric biz is kind of my thing. Aw, man.
Poor Miles.
That was tough.
Yeah, I got a feeling that
Looks like
side
we're
would
kicking
win.
off this year with a bang. Poor Miles, though.
Honestly, I'm surprised
Yeah,
how this
poor
turned
Miles.
out. At first glance, Miles appeared to have a good chance at victory.
He was definitely physically stronger than Static. He would have totally won an arm wrestling contest.
But Virgil's overwhelming electric power put him at a level
Yeah.
above the young Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, overall Static's feats were way above Spidey's, even when we scaled Miles to classic Peter Parker's biggest feats. Static definitely had the oomph to take Miles out, but Miles had no easy way to get around his force field.
The variety of techniques at Static's disposal also rent many of Spider-Man's abilities moot.
Like how Spidey's invisibility didn't matter when Static could light him up like a Christmas tree, and his speed was so similar to what the Spider Sense could give Miles that the Super Radar wasn't that big of a help. Remember, just because he knew an attack was coming didn't always mean he could dodge it in time.
And, well, shockingly, Static only needed to hit him once. See, his electromagnetic manipulation gave him control over Miles' wall crawling and other abilities. As soon as he got a hold of Miles' bioelectric aura, it was basically all over.
But hey, Miles and all the other Spider-Men fight Electro all the time, and they have no problem dealing with him. Why was Static any different?
Simply put, every iteration of Electro pales in comparison. He has no feats of power that come even close to Static, and frankly, he's an idiot. This was a fascinating matchup, but... Oh no, not again!
Yay!
I knew.
Mr. Morales put up a jolly good show, and yet Mr. Hawkins had him outdone in breathtaking power, stalwart defense, and veritable versatility.
Oh, he was just miles ahead of him, don't you know?
The victor is Static.
Who runs the world?
The ladies! So obviously there's a bunch of awesome crime-fighting chicks out there.
Like Barbara Gordon, the DC Comics vigilante known as Batgirl.
And Marvel's Gwen Stacy, the one you know as Spider-Gwen.
Or
He's
Spider-Woman.
whizzing on Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Opposes.
Barbara Gordon always had a connection to crime fighting. Her father was Gotham City's police commissioner, and she idolized the legendary superhero, Batman.
So she whipped up her own bat costume to crash a police ball. Yeah, she's a rebel, but plot twist, a criminal crashed it first and she wound up saving the day.
This sparked a fire in Barbara, a fire for justice, and a drive to confront crime on her own. With this new mission came another goal, to officially join Batman and Robin
as the next badass crime fighter, Batgirl. You know, how come she's called Batgirl when Dick gets to be Robin? Her identity and individuality shouldn't be anchored to the patriarchal idea that women are publicly defined by the men in their life.
Well said, Boomstick. Now, joining the Bat family wasn't easy. The dynamic duo weren't exactly keen on adding a third wheel.
But Batgal worked hard to prove herself, and she's not just a tough fighter, she's super smart.
With a strong understanding of technology and computer hacking, Batgirl knew she could prove useful to a team that relies on tech. Like, you know, Batman and Robin.
How could the Bat and the Bird say no?
And after settling into the Batcave, she honed her skills by training with the Batman himself.
Who's basically the world's greatest ninja times 1,000.
Literally.
She was some rookie before that, though. Her cop dad had her study a bunch of martial arts like judo and karate.
Of course, Batgirl wears her own custom bat suit, lined with Kevlar and filled to the brim with advanced technology.
It's basically a slimmed-down combination of military-grade armor and spy gear that even James Bond would be jealous of. Heck, Batman's version helped him survive this humongous explosion. Look at the size of that thing!
She also added plenty of her own tools to her arsenal for an extra advantage. Everything from a taser to pepper spray, concussion bombs, smoke bombs, and foam bombs that can bind people in place.
What's with all the bombs?
And of course, she's got
Batarangs.
Dummy?
Here I come. I'm just dying to help.
Everyone knows about the basic shuriken the bats are famous for.
Ow.
But Miss Gordon also carries an electric variant.
Huh. Well, that was...
that's very nice of you. That you never
That poor dummy.
appreciate me. You know what? If there was an award for being nice, you wouldn't win it. You three hear me?
Those are awesome. Let me try. Oh, God, why?
What happened to dummy?
Anyway, Batgirl's also got guns, but like non-bullet ones.
Oh, okay.
She's got a gun that shoots sleeping gas, a gun that shoots a grappling hook, and a gun that shoots batarangs. Because why would you throw something when you can
just
fire
shoot
it
it
out of a gun?
She's quick enough to dodge bullet fire and avoid electricity from live wire.
Who's basically just a scarier version of Blue Jamie Foxx from that one movie about amazing spiders. Also, Batbarb's tough enough to tank a 5-story fall or have a friggin' building explode while she's inside. Damn, girl, you're unstoppable.
Damn,
Well,
Barbara.
until she was shot and paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah.
But even with the loss of her legs, she rallied around her peers and kept fighting the good fight as Oracle.
Remember those computer skills? Well, they sure came in handy here, along with her photographic memory. Plus, she could dodge bullets while in a freaking wheelchair. Man, I bet she...
Damn, this girl's strong.
Certainly setting her apart from the likes of Batman and Robin. She even learned stick fighting while still paralyzed.
She can beat your ass even while sitting on hers. What can't she do in that wheelchair?
Literally.
Well, besides walk.
Not for too long, though. She eventually received neural implants in her brain and spine that let her walk again. Unfortunately, these devices are vulnerable to short-circuiting and AI hacking, but they're an acceptable risk and have been improved over time to resist such incursions.
Which just makes her that much harder to beat. I mean, she's strong enough to outmuscle a giant mutant shark and suplex a fully grown tiger.
What?
Move over, Joe Exotic. Make way for the Tiger Queen.
Thanks to her police father and her experience
Damn,
with
Barbara.
the Bat family, Barbara Gordon's
I didn't know
become
you're
a
that
well-rounded
badass.
protector of her city.
Crazy to think how far the wannabe sidekick has come. She's really stepped out of Batman's shadow and become her own hero. The goddamn Batgirl.
Overstepping yourself a little?
Try me.
And now for Gwen.
Before Mary Jane, everyone's favorite spider superhero Peter Parker dated a girl named Gwendolyn Stacy.
But then she fell off a bridge and died. The end.
Except that isn't the end. The universe is full of possibilities. What if, in another timeline, that never happened? What if Peter never found that radioactive spider that made him Spider-Man in the first place? What if the superhero was Gwen?
Welcome to Earth 65. This Gwen was a teen kicking back in New York City. She's a drummer for her high school band and the daughter of a police chief.
And she's this world's one and only Spider-Woman.
Though you might know her as Spider-Gwen. With her cool powers, she got busy fighting crime. But hey, who can blame her for showing off a bit? She does whatever a spider can.
Though her police father didn't approve, insisting Spider-Woman could use her powers for the good of others. However, her close friend, the non-superpowered Peter of this world, had a different take.
He was getting bullied all the time and idolized Spider-Gwen's power. So, of course, he figured the only way to stop the bullies was to get powers like hers. Except he accidentally turned himself into a giant monster lizard. Okay.
Whom the young Miss Stacy was forced to subdue. Peter ultimately succumbed to his experiments, dying in her arms. His death turned Spider-Woman into a fugitive on the run, but also inspired her to take her father's advice.
It was time to step up as a superhero. With her spiderific powers, she can crawl on walls and stick to any surface. Imagine, you're sitting on your couch being all that is man, and you look up at your ceiling, and instead of seeing a normal spider, there's a whole-ass woman up there. Yes, please.
Spider-Woman also has the classic spider sense, which constantly scans her surroundings and alerts her to incoming danger.
How many times have we said the word spider so far? We get to 50, do we get a free taco?
Thanks to her spider sense, Gwen's moved fast enough to dodge bullets, lasers, and lightning from Electro.
On his best day, classic Spider-Man's even dodged beams of light, at least for a bit before he got smacked.
She's tough enough to power through point-blank explosions just as well as electrocution. And yes, she has similar powers as other spider people like main universe Peter, who survived a massive explosion that annihilated the top of this skyscraper.
And she's strong enough to punch Rhino through a wall, the guy, not another animal, and lift over 10 tons.
But of course, to truly
that woman,
Spider-Woman, she needed one last thing. Thanks to Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, Gwen received her very own web shooters.
Why do these people keep using sticky stuff that just gets everywhere? Kinda gross.
The web fluid isn't just sticky, but incredibly strong.
Hey!
The tensile strength of regular spider silk can reportedly reach up to 178 kilograms per square millimeters in a cross-section. Scaled up to a human-sized web, it would be nearly as strong as steel.
Oh, come on, Wiz, this is a new shirt.
That can't be. It already has beer stains all over it.
That's just my style. Like all those girls that just cut a bunch of holes in their jeans and ruin them.
No, bro.
Even with those similar powers, Gwen's not your average spider hero. She's made a habit of traveling throughout the multiverse.
And she lost her powers permanently. They were stolen by Cindy Moon because she's the worst. Gwen could briefly restore her powers with these isotope things, but she didn't really have a good solution until she found Venom. No, really, Venom. You know, the scary aliens.
Yeah, I remember him. What did...
Despite it being, well, Venom, Gwen took the symbiote for herself. Formed into her new suit, her powers were fully restored.
Oh yes, she's back in black.
I should note this version of Venom is a bit different from the one you're most familiar with.
Really?
It was lab-created and not nearly as potent or powerful.
It can form talons, camouflage her, and do some limited shape-shifting. But Gwenum won't be reforming from a puddle of goo or anything crazy like that.
Okay.
Also, she can create even more spiders? Who the hell came up with that? I guess the only problem is the symbiote's weak to loud sounds and fire. It's basically scared of a metal concert.
Ironic, considering its preferred look. But it's still Venom, and its violent nature tore Gwen apart. Eventually, she wound up unmasked and indicted.
What do you mean unmasked? Her name's Spider-Gwen. Everyone should have figured that out.
Have you been paying attention?
Yes, Wiz. Badass spider chick kicked lots of ass.
After serving her time and even gaining control of the symbiote, shifting it into her more iconic getup, Gwen took a trip to the mainline 616 Earth.
Basically, she got about as popular as Spider-Man, and they wanted to jam her in the universe.
There, she regained her secret identity. But since there were a few other Spider-Women running around, she took on a new moniker. Ghost Spider.
Ghost Spider! That's right, this chick's too good to protect one world, she's got two. It's awesome to see how far she's come from teenage show-off to guardian of the multiverse.
And that's why I work alone. I need...
Classic spiders.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the
Love them from the mouth.
Possibilities.
But while these gals have survived some close shaves in the past, you too can get a close shave with Harry's.
Tired of over...
It's time for a
death battle! The Batcave? Oh my god, that joke. Oh my god, Barbara, I can't believe you have to comment that.
Stupid thing.
I said take me to Miles, not this one.
Nope.
Seems like you're the stupid one for dropping by unannounced.
Don't you treat your guests well.
Damn it, I forgot to say fight.
Point taken, Dracula. I'll get out of your hair. See ya.
I know that ain't gonna be that. Her hood! Her hoodie! Whoa! Can she take a hit from that? Ooh. Come on, Gwen.
End of the road, loser.
You can't hit if you can't see.
I'll find you. You're on my turf.
Too late. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I expected. This will be difficult. Who's gonna win? Whoa! What happened? Ow! Ah!
Come on! Come on!
Oh!
Shoot!
Wait, is Gwen gonna win this?
You haven't won yet!
Gwen literally just won? Oh my god!
Now I have.
I'm really surprised.
Like Batgirl's turned into Splat Girl.
Batgirl
Shut up.
wielded an impressive arsenal with plenty of tools suited to combat Gwen's abilities. Not to mention, Gwen was no match for her stellar intelligence.
Which made this pretty
That's
close.
true,
There are
but-
plenty of versions of this fight where Batgirl could take down the symbiote with sound and fire.
But even with such weaknesses, the Ghost Spider held enough of her own advantages to take the win more times than not.
So while Batgirl's training was certainly better, the spider sense is just super
I got a
broken.
feeling.
Gwen and other
Literally.
Spideys have held up against martial arts masters like Captain America, who is definitely on par with super ninjas like Batman.
Not to mention, Gwen
Literally.
was clearly stronger than Barbara. Plus, Spider-Man survived that skyscraper bomb with the same powers, which Batgirl definitely wouldn't walk away from.
It was way bigger than the building blast that Batgirl barely survived. Hell, Batman's biggest explosion survival feat doesn't even match it. Listen,
Wait,
I know
really?
explosions, and by measuring the size of this blast, I can tell it's equal to about 60 tons of TNT. But applying the same math
what?
stuff to Spider-Man's, it's more than double that.
Okay,
To be frank, Batgirl had the tools she needed to take down Spider-Woman. Gwen was simply stronger, faster, tougher, and made good use of the spider sense, making it extremely difficult for Barbara to land a decisive hit before taking one herself.
It seems batty, but Batgirl was overwhelmed by Spider-Gwen spinning this one in her favor. Jesus webbed.
The winner is Spider-Gwen.
congratulations, Gwen.